Hey guys, so I've got about, I would say, 12 to 11 minutes to do this because I'm on my last 15-minute break. But by the time you hear this, it'll be the 27th of December. Now, yeah, I will be at work, but this will basically be one of those audio videos, if you will, that is uploaded, to Premiere so you guys have content. Well, I'm working and my mom's on vacation, like I've told you before. Around this time of year and during the summer, it gets a little hard to do some content. Not all the time, but just a little hard to do content when my mom's, basically at home. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about mainly is this thing uploads. Trying to unlock my phone. What I'm here to talk about at the minute mark is about Sonic Prime. Now, by the time you watch this, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have already seen Sonic Prime, or at least taken our time and seen it. But thanks to, the internet and social media like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all that, we pretty much have an idea of what's going on. And mainly, the cliffhanger, a bit of spoilers here, has Shadow going right after Sonic in what looks like to be the middle of space, or the middle of limbo, where both of them are like shattered pieces of meteor or something. And Sonic's is basically claiming all he wants to do is go home, and Shadow basically tells him, home doesn't exist anymore thanks to you. And he goes right after Sonic, and a lot of people were kind of like, wondering, okay, why did they cliffhanger this? And, some, even though they thoroughly enjoy it, are still mixed about why Sonic, is acting the way he is throughout the series. And, why basically he's, as Shadow puts it, at fault for what happened. Well, it's like I said before when I talked about Sonic Prime and all that, and everybody getting those early screenings. And pretty much from the early screenings and doing reviews of all that, we pretty much can tell that Sonic Prime's agenda with Sonic is it still treats Sonic like he's a young teenager. Not a young teenager, but basically someone in his mid-teens going into his late teens. And as we know, with certain, individuals, certain teenagers, when they go from mid to late, they either mature with the life lessons they've been taught, or it takes them making a mistake or so, probably multiple, for them to finally grow up and realize, hey, I shouldn't be doing that. And that's kind of the situation you see with Sonic here. Sonic is in that kind of a situation where basically Shadow, at the end, blaming him for, the world not being, around anymore, basically is part of Sonic learning the lesson of, look, even though I've beaten Eggman so many times, I still have to take him seriously. Because let's not forget what Sonic does in the battle that basically causes all this to happen. Sonic yawns Eggman. He says, yeah, I just yawned to Eggman. Because he's letting his ego, his cockiness at the fact that he's beaten him so many times, that he doesn't consider Eggman a real threat anymore, or a real challenge, or someone you need to take seriously. But apparently that's where Sonic Prime's story arc for him comes into play. That basically it's to coincide, if you will, with what we see in the games. Now, as we know, as I've mentioned before, and others have mentioned before, basically they're trying to connect everything into one continuity. And what I mean by that is, even though certain elements from the comics and even the movies in Sonic Prime may not have a direct influence on the games, they can still be referenced. And what Sonic Prime's positioning is it feels like it's a story arc, an origin of how we see Sonic in Frontiers. Like basically, Frontiers gives us pretty much, an idea of how Sonic came to be as he is in the games, and it's all thanks to what happens here in the series. It's all because of what happens here in the series. he basically causes an event to occur, which basically, he's at fault for. He's at fault for, and now, he has to take responsibility in fixing. And by doing so, learn the lesson that, hey, even though I've beaten the guy so many times before that I don't think he's a challenge, I still have to take him seriously and still look at him as a threat. And that's basically what the story arc is here for Sonic. Yes, it's interesting that they're taking the multi-universe direction to make this story arc what it is, to get this character development made for Sonic. Again, if everything is coinciding with each other in one lore. But be that as it may, when you watch, the reason, again, people kind of, have a mixed reaction to Sonic Prime, even though they thoroughly kind of enjoy it, is because of the way Sonic is portrayed. It's basically the way he's portrayed. And again, like I said, it's mainly due to the fact that if it's has connections to Sonic, has referential, easy for me to say, referential connections to Sonic Frontiers and other future games, then what you get here is Sonic growing from this. You get him growing from this and realizing, okay, I can't act this way anymore no matter who I'm up against. I've got to take things seriously. I gotta, as much as he would hate to acknowledge it, slow down and listen to whatever plans people like Tails and Rouge or Amy or even Knuckles or Shadow have to get the job done. So when you look at Sonic Prime, basically by the time you listen to this, 12 days after its premiere on Netflix, when you thoroughly look at it now, because like I said, by the time you listen to this, each and every one of us would have had plenty of time to watch the entire series, if not take our time with it. I think the overall scope is basically we have an idea of where this is going. And if it goes in a direction in the second half where Sonic is able to go back in time, probably prevent himself from doing what he's about to do and say, wait, man, you do this, it's going to cause a disaster. Listen to your friends. They have a better idea. If it's something where he meets himself and says, listen to them, things will be better if you do, then great. If it's in a situation where he, from an astral plane, like kind of spiritual essence, dives into his old body and says, and basically realize and kind of stops himself from shattering the paradox prism, and that's cool too. And if you heard a little bit of a vibration, that's a notification that just came in. But yeah, overall Sonic Prime, I think, is off to a decent start. I think we could say that it's off to a decent start right now for a lot of fans, because like some people say, it's got a mixture of everything that we've known from the Sonic media, from the comics, from SatAM, Adventures, Underground, you name it. It's got a lot of stuff in there that makes it feel unique and fresh. But again, there are some people that feel a little, awkward about it because of the fact of how Sonic is portrayed. But again, as I mentioned, and I know and I do apologize if I sound like I was all over the place. I'm trying to do this while I'm on my break, my last 15-minute break. But like I said, the only thing that people kind of are mixed about, here is how Sonic's portrayed, and how he's portrayed in a way that doesn't seem like the Sonic they've known from the games. And again, I look at the fact that I believe Sonic Prime is set up for what we see in the games past and recently, like Sonic Frontiers. This is a Sonic that in Sonic Prime has to grow and learn from his mistakes, and learn that, hey, I can't just act like, hey, someone like Eggman's not a threat anymore, or I can't take him seriously anymore because I have to, and he is. So basically that's how I look at Sonic Prime as a whole. And I think in the second season, or part 2 as they call it, when it comes to Netflix, Sonic's going to learn that lesson. He's going to learn that lesson. He's going to apologize to his friends. And he's even going to, I wouldn't put it past him, have a little ending joke where Tails comes up with an idea. He wants everybody to listen, including Sonic. And you can just see Sonic doing that classic tapping to the toes like, you know, the things I do for my friends or to protect my friends, you know. I can see him doing something like that. But overall, again, Sonic Prime off to a decent start, but I think what Sonic Prime serves as, honestly, in these past 12 days since it debuted, it served basically as an origin of how Sonic came to be as we see him in previous games over the past couple of years, and most notably recent games like Frontiers. So let me know what your thoughts are, guys. I got to get back into work now, and I will talk to you all next time, but give me your thoughts overall.